All right. Deal. Just wait a minute for everybody to kind of get on here. Okay. Ha! Just making sure I'm live on my platforms. It does say live. That's a little freaky. Okay. Sweet. Hey. Blah, got that and that. No. All right. Hi, everybody. How's it going? Wait for people to log on, and I am here to help you guys answer some questions when it comes to metaphysical anatomy, which is basically the thought process of you holding on to negative emotions for a long period of time will make you sick. So I've been doing this long enough. I see a lot of patterns, and people don't get sick willy-nilly. There's always a reason. So that's what this one's all about. I will tell you today is 999, so it's a big day to let stuff go. Big day to let stuff go. How's the pup? I'll show you. He will not leave my sight. Look at this one. Come there. They want to see how you're doing there, sir. He's pathetic. And still kind of high. He's still a little loopy from the meds. So he decided to jump higher than he thought he could, and decided to tear out that dew claw of his. So usually he would have had that ripped off by now. I think he's so high he doesn't know his head from his ass, to be honest. So, but he just kind of wants to be with mom, and he's sad. Like I said, he don't know if he's coming or going. Can I put you down there? Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's out of it. Still, I mean, he's better, but hello. No, not really. Is your tongue sticking out too? Just your snaggle tooth. You poor thing. Here, just rest. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised he hasn't tore that thing off yet. That's not like him. So, oh, let's see here. When I'm around people, your throat chakra tightens up, hard to speak. So, and I'll tell you, if it's almost just like if you need to say something, obviously you're going to say it. But a lot of times, if it doesn't need to be said, that's gonna tighten up. This also could be depending on if you're talking to women and that happens, then we have to look at your relationship with your mom growing up. So, but a lot of times, like I said, it could be, like I said, it's because you don't want to be vulnerable around people, or you don't know how to help them, or if the throat tightens up, maybe you're not supposed to talk to them too. So it could be a couple different things on that one. Let's see here. Today was an irritable day. Yeah. It definitely is that. Yeah, it's a 9-day. And that's, like I said, it's one of these that you just release it. Just don't. This is not the time for drugs and alcohol, drinking it down. Now's not the time. It really is like get out the frustration in a healthy way. So get out your anger, cry it out. Like I'm not a big crier, but you know what? If you got to get some shit out, get it out. Now's the time. It's perfect timing because we're right in the middle of the eclipse season. We just got done with a lunar eclipse, which is all about releasing internal introspection, kind of like getting frustrated with yourself, but yet forgiving yourself. But when the solar when the solar eclipse comes, that's all about new beginnings, fresh new starts. So we're kind of in a weird place right now where it's just a lot of boundaries, a lot of walking away from people, a lot of hurt feelings are coming to the surface, a lot of negative emotions are coming to the surface. I'm like, get it out, 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 get it out. So get it out the best way that you can. So don't hold on to that. And like I said, and the other thing is listen to your body. If you're tired, rest. A lot of people aren't going to sleep well in a full moon, let alone a full moon with a lunar eclipse. So like I said, exhaustion is going to be a thing. So just listen to your body. If you need to rest, you don't have to earn rest. So you don't have to earn rest, just rest. So especially over the next 2 weeks. The other thing is expect unexpected changes. So whenever we're in that eclipse window, like where we're at, things will go from normal to not normal in a matter of like seconds. So this is a lot of times when we get unexpected news, all kinds of different things. So it's kind of like expect the unexpected, because like I said before, that eclipses to me are like snow globes. They like to shake things up, but when they fall back down, it's never the same, you know? And we need these because we grow. So either you got a good night's sleep or you haven't at all. And like I said, and it's A or B right now. It's either you're a mess or you're doing pretty good. A or B, that's it. So and I'm one of the lucky ones. I've been doing pretty well. So like I said, really well. But it'll kind of wane out here again, not until 2 weeks. So just hang in there. But again, listen to what your body needs. But what's really nice about this energy right now, your intuition is spot on. It's going to be spot on. It really is. So, and if you like, it's almost like if you meet somebody, you don't like them, don't like them. So if you think somebody's lying to you, they are. Just listen to those little nags, those little hunches, those little first things, because you're going to be right on the money right now. So really, really will. The other thing that I'm going to tell you is make sure that you're kind of putting the phone down a little bit and just kind of detaching, because right now there is nothing but fear. Fear about this, fear about that. Oh my God, the world's going to end. Oh my God, it might end this way or that way or this way. And I am like, there is so much negativity and so much fear right now in the spiritual community. I'm baffled, actually. So, and you know as well as I do, law of attraction is at play. So that's why I'm like, we got to stop with the fear. We got to stop with the fear. The only person that's coming to save us is ourselves. And we need to do it as a group and as a team effort, as a collective. But we can't do it if we're in fear. You can't. So the biggest thing I could tell you is let everything go, screw it all, and take one day at a time. Just one day at a time. Don't worry about goals right now. It's too hard. Like you're not going to see the forest through the trees. Just take one day at a time. So, and as long as you're, helping yourself and helping others along the way, you'll be A-okay. So that's the biggest thing I could tell you is, but there's just so much fear about the world is going to end. I'm like, we've had this crap for, I don't know how long. So, but I'm like, don't believe everything that you hear or see. Use your discernment. Use discernment. So like I said, do I think the world's going to go to hell in a handbasket? No. Do I think it's going to change? Of course. So, but it's just change. It's not the end of the world, for shit's sake. So that's why I'm like, just like I said, be careful with what you're watching. I know, like I said, even TikTok videos, like it's everything is now AI has you pegged. They know what your fear is. They know what your likes are. They know all that. So just make sure that when it starts to get a lot more fear-based or a lot more scary, just be like, nope, put the phone down. So, because then it'll restart your algorithm. So that's a big one. Moonwater on 9. If you feel like you need to release some more shit, go for it. Because this is all about release and letting go and just like I said, just kind of like letting go to your past. This is a big chapter. If you think about a chapter in a book, a lot of people are getting new chapters in their book. That's a big deal. It's kind of like the end of a mini story here. And so after the solar eclipse happens here in about 2 weeks, after that happens, then you just kind of completed that chapter and you're like, okay, now where do we go? I'm like, yeah, now where do we go? So, and hopefully there's not a lot more fear in this. So, I mean, I'm sure there will be, but I like I said, there's just too much fear going on right now. So, and what's funny is if it were to happen by now, it would have happened. So like I said, I don't believe everything that you're hearing. Don't believe everything that you're reading and saying. Use your discernment. Use discernment. Let's see here. Your rose quartz ring broke. What does it mean? You don't need it anymore. You don't need it anymore. Let's see here. Meant to be here. Hubby has a spot come over his vision. I know stress. Sometimes it is stress. A lot of times it's refusal to see themselves either through other people's eyes or see themselves and how they act. They can't, it's self-reflection. They have a hard time self-reflecting with where they're at, whether that's in their job, their family life, or whatever that is. That has a lot to do with they're not able to see themselves through their own eyes. They're not able to self-reflect or kind of like check in with themselves. Arguments with parents over the little things. Yep. That's why I'm like, if I would tell you in an eclipse, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. It'll get misinterpreted. It's not like Mercury retrograde, not that bad. But at the same time, I'm like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all, because it's going to get misinterpreted quick, fast. Let's see. Eye twitching. A lot of times eye twitching has to do with just basic stress. So you're like I said, it's funny because eyes twitching usually are like a little bit of stress or anxiety. And it always kind of comes out in the eyes, but it's more like 2 or 3 days of stress, not like months, just a few days in a row. Denise, one day at a time, my dear, because the reason why people are feeling down in the dumps, depression, it's going to be a big deal right now for people that are depressed. It's going to bite you in the butt hard right now. That's because, again, you're looking at your past once again and all of the things that weren't good about it. And you're having to once again rehash that shit. But again, if you're going to go back and look at your past, let's start looking for some solutions, not the same old pain, not the same old routine. Let's start looking at solutions. And what I would tell you is let's start looking at how whoever did you wrong, let's start breaking that down and looking how they were raised. Because if you can start to see things through their eyes, the one that abandoned you, then you can really begin to work on, be like, wow, I feel sorry for you, because you'll never be able to be as happy as what I am. But also remember that you chose your parents in some weird shape. You picked your parents for a reason. It's your job to break it down and be like, well, why would I pick this parent for myself? But when you really break it down and look at it in the big picture, spiritually speaking, it'll make perfect sense. So it takes a while. It's not something that's overnight. So, but for instance, my mother is the complete opposite of me. Love my mom, love her to death. She is a high empath. I'm not. I am here to rebel against authority. Guess who was my authority figure growing up? My mother. So I literally but I see why I picked her. So because she taught me so much. She taught me patience. She taught me how to care about other people's feelings when I really didn't give a shit. So she really did help me with empathy, help me to become like a really good mom, thanks to her. So I see why I picked her, but I also see why I rebelled against her as well. It's no different than I see why I picked my dad. I see why I would pick him to die when he was 20 years old, because I wouldn't be the medium that I am. I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't have the faith that I do. I wouldn't have any of this if that didn't occur when it did. So I also see why I chose my brother. Like I can really break that down and go, wow, I see why I picked that. And yeah, it wasn't always easy, but man, I wouldn't be the person that I am if they had to taught me who I am by the opposite of me, right? So easier said than done. It just, that takes time. That's all you got to break that shit down. That takes a little bit. So, but Denise, you just hang in there, Toots. This shit ain't easy. This shit ain't for the weak. Ooh, not for the weak. How can you find the right words to say to an elderly parent when they're nesting their home, they're purging, you feel like she's ready? There's not much you can do other than Maybe, throw some jokes in there and listen, truly listen to what they have to say. Because a lot of times they'll code things. They're like, well, I'm getting ready to go on a trip. What day are you going to go on a trip? Oh, I'm going to go Saturday. So see what I mean? So really just be there, talk to them, listen what they got to say. Because if they're ready to go home, they're going to go home. So it like I said, it just takes just be there for them. Like I said, that's all you got to do. Just be present. Husband's been sober a year, just relapse. Is it related to the eclipse? Yep. Because I'm telling you right now, everyone is looking at their past and going, oh shit. So everybody is right now, because again, it's all about completion. It's all about endings. It's all about turning that page in the chapter. And if they haven't dealt with all the shit in that chapter, it's going to bite them in the butt a little bit. So absolutely that is related to this. And that's like, this eclipse is a little different. It really is. This one isn't as spicy as the one in March and April. The one in March and April, that was a spicy bitch. This one is a lot more personal. It's a lot more introspective. It's a lot more about yourself. And it's almost as if there's a magnifying glass on you and your past and what's been done to you in your past. And it's almost like now's the time to heal it. That's why I'm like, you have to sit with yourself in that uncomfortable feeling and deal with it. Feelings are meant to be felt. Feelings are not meant to be shoved down or forgotten about or erased, or they're meant to be felt. And when you're working through that negative emotion, that pain, that's usually when solutions start popping up. But most people don't want to sit there with that. They don't want to sit there with Pandora's box open, feeling extremely vulnerable and hurt. And that's where we need therapy. I'm sorry, but that's what we have counselors for. So, but like I said, a lot of this right now is snapshot in time, looking at where you're at compared to your past. And that shit's not easy, especially if you've been through trauma, So that's where I'm like, we're going to see a lot of people, that have depression get pretty low. So that's why I'm like, if you know somebody that has depression, make sure that you're checking in on them right now. Because like I said, this energy ain't for the weak. This is some tough energy right now. And like I said, it'll start getting better after that solar eclipse here, like on the 26th, I think. But just make no mistake about it. September we're going to do one step at a time. And the next day, and the next day, because it's extremely unpredictable right now. It's very unpredictable right now. So baby steps. Yeah. Anybody else lightheaded and dizzy? Yes. A lot of people are lightheaded, dizzy, no sleep, body fatigue, ear ringing, a little bit of heart palps, not too bad. But like I said, there's a lot of that. So just hang in there. Lola, how do you deal with scammers impersonating you? Yeah. All you can do is report it. That's it. Report and block, ban. So that's, yeah. I wish that even though I have the blue check mark, I have it on my personal page, which they screwed that up. Like I said, they still do it. TikTok is the worst. Like I said, I will never, an ethical psychic, by the way, will never reach out to you in Messenger and say, I have a message for you. You can just give me a donation. That's a fucking scammer. Don't fall for that, please. Don't. I will never reach out and say, I have a message from your loved one, or call you beloved, or what's the other one? Beloved. That's my favorite one. So those are always fun. Yeesh. I do not know what my personality type is. I guess I can look into it, but I do not know. I know I'm not the INJF whatever. I know I'm not that one. So I know I got the intuitive part, but I honestly haven't done that I think the last time I did that was college. I don't know. Huh. Okay, let me talk about this. This is a good question, Jocelyn. When does this evil dark crap leave us? So over the demonic stuff going on. So here's the deal. It's been there the whole time. The reason why you're noticing it is, one, you're enlightened, and two, the light is now shining more on the dark. And so the more the light shines exposes the dark, the more that we're going to see. So it's been there the whole time. Don't make no mistake about it. It's been there the whole time, but that doesn't mean that we're all going to die and go to hell. That's not the case. Understand this. There are so many people now enlightened, they can't stop it and they know it. Number two, the light already won. The light already won. And so now what's going to start happening is that old structures are going to start kind of breaking down. And so then we're going to start rebuilding those structures. So, and like I said, we're starting to see the BS behind it all now. And we won't tolerate it here much longer. This is why we need to start coming together as a collective and say, enough. We're done with you spraying our skies. We're done with the fake food. We're done with all of this. So, and like I said, they're going to try as hard as they can. So, but the light always wins. And as a matter of fact, there's too many enlightened people at this point. They can't stop it. They tried. COVID was the last shot they had. They tried. So I'm like, they lost. They already lost and they know it. So now they're going to do last ditch effort stuff. So like I said, bless their heart. Meaning of restless leg syndrome at night. Molly, a lot of times that's because you feel like you're not moving forward to fulfill your dreams. You feel like you're not moving forward on your goals. You're kind of on the hamster wheel. So I don't know why, but every once in a great while, I'll have that too. And it's the same. It feels when I'm on a hamster wheel. If you take a sock, this is so weird, but it does work, I swear, because I've done it. If you take a long sock and you wrap it around your foot like this, like tie a knot on it, and it looks weird, but if you do that and just wrap your foot with a sock, put a knot and make it tight and go to sleep, it actually works. It stops the weird feeling. So it's weird, but it does work. So old worker told me another coworker does witchcraft spells on me. Should you be worried? No, because what they don't understand is that if somebody's trying to hurt you, it comes back to them tenfold. If anything, what I would do is surround them with love and light and be like, well, bless your heart. You know what? I'm going to put you in a bubble of white light, and hopefully maybe you can see the white light and leave me alone. So, but no, I never worry about stuff like that. You want to remember your dreams, but you can't. How can you remember them? You have to be able to get into REM sleep. So there's two reasons why people aren't necessarily going to dream, actually three. One might be childhood trauma. The second one is if you're smoking the devil's lettuce in any form, gummies too. Or number three, it's because you're not getting enough sleep. You're not getting that 6 to 8 hours of sleep so you can then astral travel and possibly remember your dreams. So. You know what? This is a good question, Brian. Should we watch scary movies or should we avoid? I will tell you, if I watch a scary movie, I have black tourmaline in my pocket, and before I even watch it, I'm going to make sure that I'm putting myself in the white light of the Holy Spirit. So, is it possible for somebody to become possessed watching a scary movie like Conjuring? Yes. Yes, it's possible. It's an avenue. So, yes, it is possible. So what I always do is, like I said, if I'm going to watch a scary movie, I'm going to always surround myself with a white light, and I'm usually having some black tourmaline in my pocket. So yes, it's possible. Let's see, what to do with a narcissist spouse of 28 years. I had breast cancer in 2020. Well, I would tell you the reason why you got breast cancer is because you held on to resentment with him. And if you're not divorced already, I highly encourage it, because he ain't going to change. So, and if that's the case, one day at a time. So, because you're going to have some PTSD shit with that too. So, are multiple flies in a weird situation a sign of demonic activity? Yes, it is. That's one of the 8 signs. Yes. This is a good question. Does cannabis affect enlightenment? It's one of the ones that does the least. I get why people do it, especially at the very beginning of their spiritual development, because they want to meditate and they want to calm down the brain, and that's a way for the brain to calm down. Totally understand that. But getting more into a stage 3 or stage 4, that it's a crutch. So you're meditating because you're learning how to control your thoughts and your emotions. cannabis kind of puts a cap on that. So you don't really learn that as well. So like I said, but is it necessarily a negative? Not really. I mean, not really, no. Alcohol is a depressant, so that'll knock you off. So, but yeah, that's why I'm like, yes and no. How about that? Not necessarily negative. Let's see. Erica saying overeating. So overeating, Erica, a lot of times it's a comfort food. It's literally that, comfort. So, and it's a habit. So my guess is that you most likely, when you had a bad day, you had a mom or a grandma or somebody that was like, oh, you had a bad day? Let's discuss it over here. Here's some brownies. Let's discuss it over food. So like I said, a lot of times, usually overeating, it's because of comfort, because your emotions aren't regulated very well. So, and again, you learn how to do that when you learn how to meditate. So the more you meditate, the more less reactive you are, the more you can control your emotions. But again, just like I tell people all the time, feelings are meant to be felt. You're supposed to sit there with those negative emotions. And because here's the deal, because the next time it hits you, it'll hit you a hell of a lot less. And then the next time it hits you even less. So, but the more you avoid it, it's going to hit you like a freaking freight train. So you might as well just sit with the anger, sit with the guilt, sit with the shame, sit with those negative emotions. Because again, when you sit with that, you become more desensitized to it. So you don't get triggered as much. So, and not only that, then shortly after that, somehow there's usually a solution that happens right after that. God's like, good job. Here's your reward. Woohoo, solution. Well, let's see here. Mom broke right femur September 1st. She is still in the hospital. Oh, she's a stubborn one. So she does not want to move forward or get out of a really shitty job that she's not supposed to be in, or a really shitty relationship that she's not supposed to be in. It's one of those two, and she does not want to move. So they're going to make her move. That's what happened. What happens when you quit frankenfood? Your intuition's going to skyrocket. Your health will too. Everything will. Yep, everything will. Yeah, I mean, you'll just get, your skin will get, everything gets better. Clarity, it just, you're not as tired. There's a lot of good stuff that comes. Let's see here. Thyroid or Hashimoto's, that's because you have a hard time being vulnerable by telling people no. You also have a hard time expressing your feelings, telling people no. Hey, that really hurt my feelings. I didn't appreciate it when you said that. Instead, they just kind of bite their tongue and they don't talk about it. And every time you bite your tongue, it's going to fester somewhere, and it's always going to fester in your thyroid or your throat. So anything with a thyroid or throat is because you are not speaking your truth. You're not telling people no. You're not telling people you hurt my feelings and I don't appreciate it. It's like you're not standing up for yourself. And you don't like to be vulnerable because you view vulnerability as weakness. Erica's like, totally makes sense. Mom still likes to feed us all. My mom does too. And if you guys don't know my mama Jill, I made a big mistake. Big. My mom shows her love through food. She made 2 pans of lasagna for the kids because I have 3 kids and they have their 3 like boyfriends and girlfriends. So I had 6 over. Do you think I remembered about the second pan that was in the garage refrigerator? And my mom came over a week later and it was still in there and I completely forgot about it. Oh, she was mad. Oh, she's still mad at me. So I made a big whoopsie. And that was a whole pan of freaking food that I was so pissed at myself because I absolutely forgot about it. Otherwise I would have put it in the freezer. Nope, absolutely forgot about it. So Mama Jill's mad at me because if I'm gonna piss her off, it ain't gonna be with anything other than food because she shows love through food. Let's see. Your thyroid's been doing better since you spoke your feelings without meds. It will. It really will. Let's see. Joe is asking about front left hip pain. That has a lot to do with indecision when it comes to your mom, or indecision when it comes, it could be a wife, could be a daughter, some female, and in not being able to decide. And if it's not any of those, the 10% would be like you can't decide on your creative outlet factors, or you're struggling between religion and faith, one of the two. So, but anything with the hips is indecision. You have a hard time making decisions. Went no contact with your mom. She just texted me a video the other day. No sorry or anything. Didn't text back. Thoughts? I think you made the right decision by no contact. Because here's the deal. Don't ever expect her to apologize. Don't ever expect her to change. Usually they don't. Bless her heart. So, like I said, I wouldn't text her back. Fatty liver, non-alcoholic. Tracy, there's two reasons. One, you're really angry. It's anger. So, and the other thing would be an autoimmune issue. It's the start of an autoimmune. So fatty liver, that non-alcoholic, is usually a sign of autoimmune issues. And if it's not the autoimmune issues, like I said, it's anger. You're pissed. You're angry. Colon issues, diverticulitis. So not always necessarily male, Karen, but usually that has to do with siblings. If it's a male, it's siblings. You have to look at his relationship. My guess is he probably works with a brother or a sister. My guess is he's probably a farmer. I'll even go a little bit farther and say he's probably works with his dad and probably family members, and they're jerks, is my guess. So, but colon issues have everything to do with siblings. You feel that your sibling gets treated better than you. Right foot collapsing, no trauma. That's refusal to move forward. You're stubborn. You do not like change. Matter of fact, you probably hate change. So like that's just stubbornness. It's refusal to move forward because you're scared. Yeah, that's point blank. That's where it's at. And because people are scared because they don't like change, because change is scary, because they can't predict it, because it's all about control. They want to know everything because control. Basically what it boils down to. Prostate cancer is usually for guys who are ex-military or alpha male. So, and they were probably let go of their job in military unexpectedly, or it's almost just like I was with the military for 30 years and then all of a sudden they let me go out of nowhere. That's prostate cancer. It's usually, like I said, alpha male type of jobs because they're always in a fear-based response. They're always kind of covering and looking over their shoulder at what might be happening next. So, yeah, that's usually prostate cancer is that. Let's see here. Let me see. Problem with siblings and having major issues with siblings and gastrointestinal issues. Oh yeah, that's why I'm like, especially colon issues. Colon in particular is sibling stuff almost every single time. So right knee pain, again, is refusal to move forward with a job, getting out of that job or getting out of that relationship. So, and usually it's financially related, but almost always it's just a fear-based response. You're scared to move on, or scared to leave, or scared to let go. Jennifer, I'm going to say, yeah. Yep. Yep. If doing that, it's just, it really is kind of, weirdly enough, your subconscious is giving you a little hope. So, let's see here. Perimenopause, hang in there. They are finding really good results with nicotine, like half a nicotine patch, things like that. So look into that. What's my opinion on the Annabelle doll? I won't fucking go near it. How about that? No, thank you. Why would I want to? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. Why would somebody want to be exposed to something that could potentially harm them? No thanks. I'd rather hang around with happy people, not shit like that. Is IBS similar to colon issues? Not always. No, not always. Because IBS, a lot of times, remember, we eat frankenfood. So a lot of times it very well could be just a food allergy too. Toddler was born with food allergies, recent EOE diagnosis. Yep. So, Jen, I would ask if you were if you were really irritated when you were pregnant, quick to anger, really irritated, because that's where that would come from. Reason toddler boy keeps getting UTIs. Oh, he's pissed. He's pissed at his dad. I doubt mom. I bet he's pissed because nosebleeds would be why he wants mom. So UTIs, that kid's pissed off. He's a mad kid. So, and like I said, I'd ask him, what are you so mad about? So, and there's a reason kids, because here's the deal. Kids don't just get mad willy-nilly. It's a parental issue. It's always a parental issue. So like I said, who's he mad at and why? And fix it. Why does your son have chronic sinus issues? Because he's irritated, literally irritated all the time, irritated. Now, it doesn't help that we don't have clean air and shit like that, but a lot of times it has a lot to do with irritation. People around them are irritating, or he'll say people are just annoying. So that's usually where that one's at. Shedding hair like crazy or 55. Amy, make sure you're taking new nutrition. That has a lot to do with that estrogen, progesterone, and estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. That has a lot to do with that. And if it's not any of that, you got to double check the thyroid and make sure that's on the up and up. Mother-in-law issues is not your issue. It's your husband's issue. So it shouldn't be your issue. So it's your husband's issue. So like I said, and it's one of those where he needs to kind of take the reins on that one. You don't have to. That's his job. 2-year-old constant belly issues, and Jess, it could be food. Like I said, these newer kids coming in, they can't do mac and cheese and pizza and chicken nuggets. Their tummies will not tolerate it. So it kind of turns to glue in their guts. So this is one of those that's making sure that you're finding good food for him to eat. Like usually if I can make it at home, it's going to be better for my stomach versus just the stuff that you can microwave and eat. Like that's not good. Let's see. Does lung cancer matter when it comes to which side? Sometimes it does. Right side's usually masculine. Left side is usually more feminine. And lung issues usually have a lot to do with grief, or you're grieving, like they're outgoing and having fun and you're not. So a lot of times lungs have a lot to do with grief and sadness. Not necessarily depression, but grief and sadness. So Kelly's asked about heel spurs or plantar fasciitis in the right foot. Ooh, you are really stubborn. That's stubbornness right there. And you do not like change at all, not even a little. So, and I bet if you go out to eat, you go back out to eat at the same restaurant, order the same thing every single time. So, because like I said, anything to do with your heel means that you are digging your heels in because either you want to be right, or you don't like change, one of the two. My guess is change. And it's change for you would be very scary. And change is not scary. If anything, I look forward to it. I really do. Yeah, Liz, I am too. I'm a lot more reactive to mosquito bites nowadays. And they're not going away as easy as what they used to. And I think that just with so much chemicals, it wouldn't surprise me that we're just having a harder time kind of getting it out of our body. So I know that I'm not one to do Benadryl, but I even had to do Benadryl one night because I could not sleep because I got bit up. So I get bit up pretty good. So, but this one, yeah, usually Benadryl for me. If your business, Carolyn, if your business partner is acting a little distant right now, give them space. Just be like, hey, if you need anything, I'm here for you, but I've noticed that you're kind of distant, but I'm going to give you some space right now. Because here's the deal. Remember, everybody's releasing something. Everybody's going through something personal right now. Don't take whatever they're going through and assume that it's directed towards you. Don't assume that. So, but like I said, it's kind of one of those that we're in an eclipse and boy, anything can happen overnight. So just let them know that you're noticing their behavior, but you're not here to talk about it. You're not here to adjust it. You're not here to give advice. Just know that you're here. I'm here for you if you need anything. That's it. That's it. Would a car, sorry, I just want to look fast. Would a car crash happening on 9 have any meaning? Well, they get a new car. Like I said, it's all about endings. So 9s are all about like endings, completion, like I said, new cycles type of stuff. My dog. Cammy, I'm going to close my door. Hang on a second. Hey. Oh, okay, that's legit. There's a wiener dog. There's a wiener dog. Like we have a sidewalk and the wiener dog was like sniffing and the wiener dog was peeing. So Cammy was like, hey man, that's my property. I'm like, okay. Got diagnosed with stage 4 sleep apnea. What's that from? I see that a lot with older guys in depression. Like you work, but no play. So you need more play. You need more fun. You need more fuckery. You need more fun. Is there anything we can do about them spraying our skies? Yeah, we need to contact our senators. Yeah, contact your senators. Contact the people that are in charge that can make something. I do know that that green lady, what's her name? She's a senator in Washington, D.C. She did propose a bill, I do believe, about them at a federal level with spraying stuff in the skies. So, you know, the one that's always controversial, the green chick, I don't know what her name, I don't do politics, I don't know. But she just put in a bill for them spraying stuff in the skies. I don't know much else about that. Start a new job on 9/29. Also, first son's birthday. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. It's perfect timing too. Like I said, if you need to make some massive changes, perfect time. So, oh yeah, the Grand Island. I will be doing a live audience reading in Grand Island on the 19th. So I've got that one, and then I also have one in Sioux City coming up in October. And right now for November, December, I don't have much planned. You guys, if you have signed up for my newsletter, I will be sending out, there should be a newsletter coming out about 9 o'clock my time tonight, about what's happening on Friday. I got some good news on Friday. So I'll post it Thursday on Facebook so you guys can see it. But I got some cool news. Like I said, cool stuff. And before I get any further, episode, what was it? Like shit. Hang on. Somebody sent me something on South Park. And it has my name in it. And I don't know if they meant me or not, but yeah. Let me show you. Actually, I think I can without getting in trouble too much. Because I can't, it's a copyright infringement stuff like that. So let me, because one of my friends sent me this and they were like, do they mean you? And I'm like, well, they did talk about how I think Labubu dolls are fairly demonic because they're named after the Pazuzu, which is a demon. So that's like the minute I saw those things, I'm like, I don't want those anywhere near. And I told my kids, don't you dare get into this craze because it's not a good craze. Not good at all. So let me turn the volume up so you guys can hear what I'm talking about. But this was it was episode, I think 29. Here, I'll show you real quick.
Yeah, what are we supposed to do? My daughter sees Kelly Miller summoning demonic forces on TikTok, then she wants to be like Kelly Miller.
Did Kelly Miller summon demonic forces?
I don't know if they're talking about me, but I can't find any other psychic mediums with my name. So I'm like, the fuck. So yeah. So I don't know if they meant me or not, but I know I did go on TikTok and yeah, I did do a live and I spoke about it. So I'm like, Again, I don't know if that's me or not, but I can't seem to find anybody else. It was, let me see. It is season 27, episode 4 of South Park. So, like I said, they spelled it with a Y and not an I, but everybody was misspells my name, but it was my name. So I'm like, okay, little weird. But I'm like, am I hearing that right? But like I said, a lot of people have sent me that, and I'm like, well, I don't know. It'd be fun if it is. I think what I'll do is I'll just post it when the copyright is, because right now it's still on Paramount Plus, so I can't post anything. They'll take it down. So, but yeah, I didn't see any other Kelly Millers that are psychic mediums either. So I'm like, and I did go on TikTok several times and tell people, like, don't get the Labubu doll. Like, I don't like anything with eyes in my fucking, I don't like things with eyes. I don't like things with eyes. I never liked Barbie dolls. I didn't like things with eyes. They're weird. They creep me out. And Labubu have like demon eyes. I'm like, how is that good? It's not. Let's see here. Past life healing. Can we do this to ourselves? Yes, but I'll tell you what, if you're seeing replicating numbers, you're enlightened. And if you're enlightened, your past life has already been healed, or you have no karma, because you wouldn't be enlightened if you had past life karmic stuff that you had to deal with. So like I said, for me, we don't have to worry about it. Yeah, this is a good one. Donna, is there any truth to all these Simpson videos that are being played? Here's the deal. This is where it gets really difficult. Is it AI or is it an actual episode? So like I said, I'm taking the Simpson thing totally with a grain of salt, because any more AI can absolutely mimic that. And we don't know if that's real or not. So like I said, for me, I'm taking that with a grain of salt. I really am. Crystal to wear for getting to your life purpose. Man, that's a tough one. Just because it's getting to your life purpose. It's a step by step thing. It's not like it's just going to hit you. I mean, when it does hit you, it will. But man, you probably have to go with some of those probably higher vibed ones, like Moldavite, Phenokite, Tektites of sorts. Those would be probably my guess. So. A good remedy for a parasite cleanse. I have an Amazon shop. I'm not very active on it, but I do have an Amazon like influencer page, I guess. And that is something I have on there called Paragard. And Paragard has everything in it. You don't need any like binders or anything like that. It's a pretty easy one to use. It's a simple pill. Don't do the liquid. Simple pill. I would tell you that I do a parasite cleanse twice a year. And ever since I've done that, my skin has gotten better. The clarity, like I'm not foggy brained anymore, and I have no bloating. I'm not bloated. So that's I've noticed that a lot with the parasite cleanse for me. Woke up wanting to change everything, but you're nervous. And I'm going to tell you, Rochelle, go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Now's the time. Because everything in your intuition is telling you, you know what you need to do. A lot of times we just want a little second. We just want a little validation. We just want a little double check. I'm like, don't ask anybody. I don't talk to people about my next move, because they're going to give me their opinion about it, whether I want to hear it or not. And I don't want to hear it because it's never good. It's rarely is it good. Usually they're like, well, you maybe want to play safe. Nope, I don't. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. And either you're going to accept it or you're not. And I don't frankly give a shit, because I'm not living my life for you. I'm living my life for me. And as long as I am not hurting people and treating people the way that I'd want to be treated, I'm going to be fine. It's just the golden rule. It's karma. You treat people the way you want to be treated. That's it. Is it a good time to sell a house? Yes. Anything with change. Anything with change. Yes, absolutely. So... and I'll address this, Michelle. I know that sometimes the family feels like it's under attack, but rarely is it. And if you feel that it is, we're always going to call in Jesus Christ. We're always going to call in some angels here, maybe some saints, whatever you feel like, to be able to protect you and help your family. But like I said, right now, in between an eclipse, things will kind of fall apart like all of a sudden. But sometimes they're supposed to, like I said, sometimes they're supposed to fall apart, because it's not... You shouldn't be there anymore. Heading to Ireland with your sons this month. Should be aware of anything there. Hell no. Have fun. Have lots of fun. What issues can be caused baby born with the umbilical cord around its neck? Not a lot. I mean, not really too much. It depends on how serious it gets. But usually kids are resilient. Like babies are a lot more resilient than people like to give them credit for. So, but usually not too much. If it stays around too long, or if there's some injury with birth, then we're looking at, cerebral palsy, things like that, possibly. Just had your radio turn on by itself and then shut off by itself while listening to you. That happens. I'm guessing somebody's trying to get a hold of your attention, a loved one. So that happens a lot. Let's see. Had to put your dog down yesterday. Issue with family now? Absolutely. First of all, absolutely yes. And second of all, that's one of the hardest damn things to do. It's easier when they just go on their own. Sometimes we have to decide for them, and man, that sucks. That sucks. And I feel for you. I really do. I got a prayer out there for you on that one. So, but yes, I don't care. I don't care if you loved it and it was a snake or a cockroach. If you loved it, you will absolutely see it in heaven. Guaranteed you will. Sometimes they even come back around again. Sometimes they'll reincarnate a couple times. So that can happen. Beautiful aloe plants your salon, all of a sudden died, convinced that somebody with bad energy came in. It's either, and it wouldn't be just one time. I'm fair warning you on this one. It wouldn't be just one time. It would be multiple times. So my guess is if your plant died like that, then I'm guessing it very well could have been an employee, because it's somebody that would be around a lot more often for a plant to die. And yes, plants die when they're not happy. If there's a lot of negative energy around somewhere, plants don't do well. So that's why I'm like, when I go to people's houses and I see that they have a lot of house plants, I'm like, Matt, and I'm a horticulturalist at heart, but still. So that's a happy place. Got lots of plants, that's a happy place. Paragarth, easy, fast, simple. Did this a few weeks ago. It is. Yeah, it's really easy. Yes. Does the eclipse in the portal make you tired? Yes. Exceptionally tired. So that's why, like I said, if you're dizzy, if you're discombobulated, you're dropping stuff, you're tired, but you're not sleeping well, it's par for the course. That's going to be pretty normal. It should start improving, but we had a lunar eclipse and a full moon. That's going to fuck your shit up a little bit. It's going to mess with you. So, but yeah, it's absolutely going to make you tired. You bet. And discombobulated and dizzy and like ear and sinus stuff, and people that have depression issues. So, meaning of spiders, that usually has a lot to do with your mother, issues with mom issues, or you being the mother. So I don't know why, but spiders always have to do with mom issues. I don't know why. It's one of the weird ones that I happen to remember. So lots of indigestion. Again, the last shift that we had solar wise, that kind of hit the guts a little bit. But like I said, be really picky with what you're eating right now. Be really, really picky. So I've been eating pretty clean. I'm back doing it on my vitamins again. Like I'm really making sure to eat clean. If you need to do any dietary changes right now, like I said, if you need to do a cleanse, if you need to do any sort of thing with the body, perfect time. It's, again, completion. We're starting something new. So if you need to do any change in routine, any dietary changes, any diets, any cleanses, green light. It's actually a really good time, green light. So go for it. So toenail fungus, second toe. I got to look. Jessica messaged me on that one. So I got to look that one up. So I have to look that one up first. So, but yeah, second toe, there's a reason. And I need to know if it's your left or right foot. I need to know that as well. Just message me on that one. Do past loved ones stop giving signs once they decide to come to Earth again? it's hard to explain, but no, because their oversoul can still do that. It gets a little complicated. So yes and no, but no, you can still get signs even if they have reincarnated, because technically the oversoul can still do that. It gets pretty quantum, but yes, they still can. And all you have to do is just ask, like, hey, I need a sign. Give me a sign. Is it a good time to have surgery on the 25th? Yes, you'll be good. So, that explains why your plants died and that you moved into the apartment 2 years ago, never got comfortable there. You stayed all the time, finally moving in 3 weeks. Yep, it's the energy. It's absolutely the energy. And like I said, UTIs, pissed off. Usually you're pissed off at your partner. You're pissed off at your partner. Do you meet past... do we meet past lives family when entering heaven, or only the immediate family? Oh, you'll meet everybody. It's you. Like I said, you have to understand, when you go to heaven, you see the big picture. And it's my job to help you see the big picture now. So that way you don't take everything personally. You let stuff go, because again, you're looking at the big picture. Like, oh, well, you don't really like a negative comment. If it pisses you off, is it true? Is it true? Or did it piss you off because you used to be that person? Or is it true because that's something your mother would have said? Like you have to really look at this again from the big picture of things. And that's really, like I said, that's really where what my job is to help you see the big picture all the time. Acne all of a sudden a decade without, like I said, it could be, like I said, a lot of times acne out of nowhere is a hormone imbalance. So we have to look at the endocrine system on this one. We got to look at the thyroid. You got to look at the hormones. You got to look at all of that stuff first. So, and a lot of times if it's not that, then the body's purging. It's getting rid of shit. So like I said, it very well could be that too. A purge. Can your house take a hit because your husband and I were in your house one night and it sounded like somebody hit the house with a vehicle? What would that mean? Technically, yes, it can. And Karen, after something like that happens, I'm going to sage the house. And I'm going to put salt on the outside of my house then too, just to make sure that we get a nice little bubble around the house. So yes, technically that's true, especially if your house is located where Feng Shui calls a poison arrow. So let me explain. If you have a road and then you have a house right there, you know how you got the road there and then you can turn left or right? You got the house there, you got the road here, and then you got to turn. This right there is called a poison arrow. So if you live right here, you're more than likely going to have your house hit or take a hit. It's not necessarily positive energy if you have a house there. It's called a poison arrow or a poison dart. So it's hard to get energy to move there. So how to deal with a person that you used to be like? Learn from them. Look how far you've come. And then forgive yourself for not knowing it sooner, because you wouldn't have. That's the point of going through a lesson. Multiverse question. Each decision we make creates a dimension. We make the opposite decision. What does our soul reconcile these experiences? It doesn't necessarily reconcile, but you are able to do your life review later. And if you went right and you were thinking that you were going to go left, well, then you can see what would have happened if you would have went left. So that's why we have free will. That's the number one reason why we have free will. No one gets to affect our free will. No one, unless you give them permission, but nobody gets to affect your free will. So. So is it possible your son's medical issues could be stemming from generational traumas? Not usually. If he has medical issues, we have to look at all factors. Is it his environment? But most than likely, he's probably has my guess is he has a dad abandonment issue. or what happened to him that was traumatic. Did you guys divorce at a certain age of his? So 9 times out of 10, it's trauma of some sort. We just have to figure out what sort. So like I said, is it a divorce? Is it because dad, left and died early, didn't come back, abandonment, or he was a jerk? Like we have to really look at that. So, because it's not always necessarily generational trauma. It's not. But because here's where I have an issue with generational trauma. Let me explain. If your grandma married an alcoholic man, your mother is more likely to marry an alcoholic man as well, because she's going to deem that as normal. And then her daughter will then pick an alcoholic man because, again, she's going to deem that normal. So do you see what I mean? Is it because it's learned or taught behavior, or is it generational trauma? So that's where I'm like, that's where I'm like, to me, it's a learned behavior most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. Are wild energies causing car problems, AC issues, and computer stuff? No, not really. So I don't know what the hell's going on with your shit, but no. And I would tell you, if that's the case, Becky, I'd grab some shungite. That's for sure. Shungite or orgonite to help kind of calm some shit down in the house. Usually when I see stuff like that happening, car problems, AC issues, computer stuff, I'd be curious, Becky, is if you've got a daughter between the ages of 10 and 14 in your house. Let me know if I'm right. Been tired lately? Is it normal? Yes. Yeah, I've been saying that throughout this entire time for people logging in, logging off. You're gonna be tired. You're gonna be damn near surely exhausted. So make sure you're hydrating, putting your damn phone down, getting outside, and just get kind of resetting, getting back to recenter again. So, but listen to your body. If you're tired, rest. So, no, but you work with teenagers. There it is. So I would tell you, like I said, let's get some shungite or orgonite going on. And I think that's really going to help a lot. So, BZ, this is a great one. What's behind people that are so passive aggressive? Been seeing a lot lately, haven't you? And it's all the unenlightened ones. It's the muggles. And you want to know why? Because they feel like they're losing control. And they feel like everybody else is out of control. And I need to make sure that everything around me is in control. I have to make sure everything. I'm like, you don't have that much power. Nobody has that much power. Are you kidding me? The only thing you are in control of is what you do, what you say, what you think, and how you react. That's the only thing you're in control of. That's it. You're barely in control of your kids. So that's why I'm like, the people that are muggles, the people that are unenlightened are still in a fear-based response. I have to control everything because if things are out of control, I don't know how to handle that. So that's where you're going to see a lot of passive aggressive right now, and stupidity, or I should say ignorance, not necessarily stupidity, a lot of ignorance. Yeesh. No, Mary, you have to do that online. Anything with the High Vibe Tribe is all online. There is a Thinkific app now, and you can get on that app and find the High Vibe Tribe so much easier now too. I love this one. I have 3 young daughters in the house, nonstop car problems. Yeah, that's like, if you have daughters in your home between the ages of 10 and like 15, I highly suggest you back up your phones, your computers, and anything else that has data on it, because girls, especially going through puberty during that time, will fuck shit up bad. So TVs, they'll zap everything. So it's just because, and they don't mean to, because right when they're getting ready to menstruate or ovulate, their auric field goes out very far, very fast. Boom, 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 boom. And when it does that, it creates like a wave that goes out, and it really screws with electricity. Do grounding sheets help? Yes, I like grounding sheets. Yes. Yep, grounding sheets, grounding pads, grounding pennants. Yep. Especially now that we're going into winter. So the best bet is to still go outside. That's still the best bet. But if you can't because it's rainy and shitty, grounding pennants, grounding pads, grounding sheets, they all help. They all help because what they do is they open up your root chakra, which deals with fear. So it helps to open up and stabilize your root chakra so you get some better rooting down. So again, it's like a tree. A lot of people always want to worry about their third eye and their crown. I'm like, that's probably fine. It's your root chakra that probably is a lot more weak. So the High Vibe Tribe is a place where it's the subscription program that I have. It's on my website, and what it is I talk about conspiracy theories there. Can't really talk about that stuff here because they'll get shut down. I also will do once a month a free like live audience reading there too, and answer questions and things like that. And then I also do a private Q&A on that platform too. So and there, my High Vibe Tribe is they've already heard about what's going on Friday. So we have grounding mats and grounding pads at our store at Awakenings. So we have some of those, and we also have some pendants that just came in finally. So yeah, the ear pressure thing, Jolynn, hang in there with that. That, like I said, try to ground and see if that doesn't help out just a little bit. But we've had just a few. Like I said, we've had a few solar instances, but a lot of this is from that lunar eclipse. It really messes with people's ears and sinuses pretty bad. Yeah, we do sell grounding pendants and grounding bracelets. Anything black is considered grounding, any black crystal. So whatever floats your boat. You have anemia, doctors are not sure why. What do you suggest? What I would do, Sarah, is look into like alternative doctors. We need more testing. We need to figure out why. Is that because your body isn't absorbing iron? And if it's not absorbing iron, what is blocking that? So this is where I wish, like I said, this is where the guys that are in the medical field and alternative field, I love the fact that the medical guys are now breaking away from medicine and starting their own like shindig. They're starting their own like clinics. Those are the people that we should be supporting because they both do medicine and alternative and put it together. Those are bridges. I love bridges because when medicine meets alternative, people get healed. They don't just, they get healed. They find the damn problem. So because in modern medicine, if it doesn't show up on a graph or a chart, you don't have it. Well, you very well could. It's just not on their chart. So, and they're only willing to do so much. And you, at this point, you have to be your own advocate when it comes to your healthcare. You have to, because it's a broken system and we all know it. And we know that the doctors don't run it anymore. The insurance companies do. So, and once they start running it, it's all about the bottom dollar. It's not about people's care anymore. And that's why the doctors are leaving. They know it. So, but like I said, look for naturopathic doctors. Look for more of those alternative doctors. Like I said, they're popping out of the woodwork now. They're popping out, which is great. Good stuff. So many heart palpitations lately. Yes, that's normal. Like it's just because of the lunar eclipse that we had. Hang on one second. Siblings deal with addictive issues with gambling and alcohol. Easiest just to avoid them. Yeah, it is. I mean, also understand that if they're gambling and they have alcohol, a male that has alcoholic issues is dealing with trauma from an overbearing father. If a guy is an alcoholic, I'm looking right at their dad and seeing how mean their dad was. If a girl is an alcoholic, I'm looking at who left her, an abandonment issue. Her dad left her, then her husband left her, and now her son won't talk to her. So that's where, like I said, men and women are a little different when it comes to alcohol that way. But gambling is a way of dealing with money problems. It's just a way of burying your head in the sand for a little bit. But that also, usually people that are depressed or grieving, gambling is some excitement in their world. You know, Jocelyn, I think a lot of times when it comes to thyroid testing is, to me, ancient, because you can go in the morning and get your thyroid tested, it's going to rank something. And then you go in the afternoon and get it tested, it's going to rank something completely different. The whole test for it's a joke. We need a better test, first of all. But I think a lot of that boils down to nutrition, especially when it comes to thyroids. I would really have you looking at selenium as a supplement. The parasite gland I mentioned, it's called Paragard. Yeah, it's called Paragard. So Jamie, cocaine addiction, that's trauma. Anybody that has an addiction, you have to really look at how they were raised and what happened to them, because something traumatic happened. Something traumatic happened. And cocaine hits the dopamine. So usually when I see cocaine addiction, they're usually depressed. They're usually depressed. So, and like I said, those are the ones that don't want to go on antidepressants. What does it mean when you have an M on the hand? We all do. Most of us do. 99% of us do. Unless you have a simian line, which would make it an N. So, but most of us have an M on the hand. It doesn't make us unique. So, how to heal uterine fibroid tumors. Angie, deal with your dad abandonment issue, especially between the ages of 10 and 13. I'm guessing that your dad wasn't there for you, emotionally speaking. Your dad was probably a trucker or a farmer. He was there, but he wasn't one to say, I love you. He wasn't one to give you a hug and a kiss. Yeah, usually uterine fibroid tumors have a lot to do with your dad abandonment issue in a weird way. And then usually we're dating somebody that's just like your father. So we have to look at that. But anything with fibroid or endometriosis, your dad was not there for you, emotionally speaking, growing up, especially between the ages of 10 and about 13. Oh, what's going to happen this Friday? Well, something good for me. Nothing bad. Nothing bad. Something really good for me. So heroin is the same as cocaine addiction. It's the same. So heroin is for some severe trauma. Usually somebody who's been SA'd repeatedly is that one. Breast cancer, right breast, best healing advice. Don't hold on to resentment with your husband or ex-husband, whichever one it is that you're holding on to resentment with. So usually selfish, if you marry a selfish man, almost always I see that right breast cancer showing up. So 9 times out of 10. But like I said, the best healing that you can do is understand that he's never going to see things from your perspective, no matter how hard you try. What are common health issues you might get due to abandonment issues? It depends. Usually those are more mental health issues. If, like, for instance, if you have the opposite sex parent abandonment issue, then 9 times out of 10, the opposite sex, if you're sensitive, you're going to get depression. If you're more of an indigo right fighter, somebody more like me, then you're going to be more bipolar. So the opposite sex parent has a huge bearing on who you are and who you become. Same-sex parent abandonment issue, it's still an abandonment issue, but it's not as dramatic. Not as dramatic. SA means sexual, ASSULT. I can't say that or I'll get thrown off here. Non-cancerous growth and long, Julian, that has a lot to do with grief. Grief. Your sadness, your grief. That has a lot to do with that. Thoughts on sound therapy, music bowls? Love. Certain singing bowls are attuned to your chakra system. So if you have a chakra that's blocked and then you do sound therapy, it's going to unblock that chakra. However, it will unblock the chakra, but it will also bring the emotion that you're using to block that with. It's going to come to the surface. That's the point. So you can deal with it. That's the point. So I actually have a chakra workshop tomorrow. If you guys are interested, it's $25. It's an hour and a half. It's both in person and over Zoom. Just head to my website. Again, it's psychickelly.com. Just head to my website. Everything's there. So, but I'll be talking about chakras and we'll go in depth of what exact emotion that you're holding on to that's blocking that particular chakra, and what are some things that you can do to unblock the chakra to be able to get to the emotion so that way you can really deal with it. Let me Let's see. 38 and single, I've been manifesting getting married and having children, but do I have any additional advice? Don't focus on it too much. As weird as that is, don't focus on it too much, because it's almost like if you want something so bad, you actually block yourself from getting it. Make sure you distract yourself once in a while. So that's great that you're manifesting it, but don't be 24/7 focused on it and looking everywhere. So just make sure that you distract yourself once in a while to allow that to come to you, so you don't block it as much. Random burping, better than farting. But yeah, that's actually weirdly normal, because when you go from a low vibration to a high vibration, a lot of times you'll see me get hiccups a lot. So hiccups, burping, farting, normal. You go from a low vibration to a high vibration. That's what happens. Fun, right? Sorry, this is a book. Trauma coming up. Uncovered a lot of trauma to the point where I woke up physical pain. Yep. It happened 16 years ago. Try to explain that phenomenon to your partner. Feel like he thinks he's a little nutty. Well, let him think what he wants to, but you're right on the money. What are my thoughts on castor oil packs? Oh, love. I'm all for old school, old grandma remedies. Oh, I'm here for it. So absolutely. And castor oil packs work. Especially Edgar Casey. So he suggested that a lot. But yeah, oil packs absolutely work. People who have multiple addiction issues, again, that's severe trauma, point blank. And again, I can't be mad or upset at addiction issues, because they're trying to cope with something the best that they can with what they have. So they're reaching for drugs and alcohol and other addiction things to try to cope with the trauma of what actually happened. And they don't know how to deal with that. They don't know how to work it through. They don't know how to sit with that. They need help getting through that. And if they don't have help, or they don't feel like they need help, then that's what addiction issues are. It's a big distraction from pain and trauma that they've been through. So, and in a weird way, they forget about it for a while. That's why they do it. And they don't do it purposely to hurt other people per se. They know that that's an after effect, but the idea of them not feeling the pain of the trauma that they went through is why they do it in the first place. Does this energy affect pets? It does. I mean, look at my dog. Talk about dysfunctional. So, can you be addicted to THC? I think anybody can be addicted to anything. And I think that THC is a really common one to have us wind down. And like I said, I understand why people do it. I really do. But we need to learn how to get into a better meditative practice. We need to learn how to sit with our emotions and deal with those emotions. And meditation, the more that you do that, the more that you're able to not only deal with those emotions, but kind of get over them. So the next time it happens, you're like, oh, I already sat with this. I'll sit with this too, but you ain't sitting for 20 minutes. It's more like 10. And then the next time it happens, it's more like 5. So every time it loops around, because it will keep coming until you no longer get triggered to it. So, but if you're distracting yourself with drugs and alcohol, THC is one of them, then that is just going to keep coming around until you deal with it. So, but THC isn't not necessarily addictive, but you're addicted to it because of the release or the relax. So, but again, we have to learn how to do that with meditation. Let's see here. Spouse is addict from his brother committing suicide. Ugh, he's not an addict from his brother. I can guarantee you he's not an addict from his brother. It triggered him. The suicide triggered the brother to get back on addiction. But if the brother has already done that, I guarantee you their mother was a piece of shit. Guaranteed. I'll bet money on it. I'll bet mom was never there for those boys ever. And she chose men before her children. So, or she died early, one of the two. And as a result, they do not know how to cope with that. That is the core issue. That's the issue he needs to deal with. So, and now he's got the issue with his brother being gone. That's a double whammy. That's a double whammy. And like I said, right now we are in between two eclipses. And what happens right now with this particular eclipse is you are looking at the past going, I don't want to look at it. And I'm like, no, now's the perfect time to look at it, because if you keep ignoring it, you're just going to start going haywire the opposite direction. So that's why I'm like, people that have depression, people that have tried to do unalive themselves before, we got to watch them pretty close right now, because this energy is not easy for that. Because again, it is focusing in on your past, and you've got a mirror right in front of your face looking at your past. This is not easy stuff to be dealing with. And if you haven't been working on it up to this point, it's gonna hit you like a freight train. It's gonna hit you like a damn freight train. And it's going to keep hitting you until you sit and deal with it. But something like this, Jess, hey, we need counseling. We need help. We need somebody to get in there, whether it's a female or a male counselor. Who cares? So, but I'll tell you what, when it comes to a guy, I'll tell you, keep it secret. Like, you know what? We got to go to counseling. But here's the deal. I'll take you and I'll get everything set up, and I'm not telling a soul. If you choose to tell people, you can tell them, because when it comes to a guy, it really is a pride thing. It's a pride thing. So if you're going to help your man out, you're going to do it and zip your lip. Not a word. Not a word. You're going to help them through it, but you're not going to bitch and complain about it, because that's not helping them. So like I said, if you're going to do it, like I said, especially when it comes to a counselor, make sure that one, they're comfortable with their counselor and that they kind of get to choose them. But number two, you're not talking about it to nobody, not without their permission. And you do that, and then they're more likely to kind of let their guard down a little bit more and be a little bit more vulnerable with you. Because up to this point, there was no way in hell he could be vulnerable. His mom would have beat him into submission. So there's no vulnerability. It's either tough or get out. So, and that's not an easy place to be, but you have to be that soft place where he can land. You have to. So that's just it. But like I said, for better or for worse, right? Oh, that stuff's hard. Hard stuff, man. Okay, so I think I'm going to end it there, guys. So again, tomorrow, I've got that chakra workshop. If you're interested in that, check that out. Again, everything's on my website. Friday, I've got something big happening, but I can't really say it yet. I'll probably announce it on Thursday morning. Otherwise, if you're signed up for my newsletter, you'll get the newsletter here in about a half hour. And then I have a Q&A on Facebook, which I'll probably do it this way on Thursday. But other than that, I think, oh yeah, I got a crystal sale. I got lots of cute stuff again. So I have a live crystal sale on Sunday. And if you're interested, Eric and I are on Whatnot. So brand new platform. So we're checking it out. So we're selling some crystals on Whatnot. I know that he's doing rare and exotic crystals on that platform, because we do pretty well on that. So if you're ever bored, I guess you can come watch Eric and I sell crystals. So, but want to thank everybody for watching. Again, anything that I spoke about, if you need to, just head to my website at Psychic Kelly. All that stuff's in there. The High Vibe Tribe, Enlightenment Academy. I'll be teaching Enlightenment Academy in December. So like I said, and if you need to sign up for the newsletter, it's all the way at the very bottom, at the bottom of the page of every page. So, all right, guys, take care. Have a wonderful week ahead. Like I said, release, get it out, get it out, get it out, get it out. Don't shove negative emotions down. Get it out. Try to put the phone down. Get outside the best that you can. It's all about restart. It's all about restart. So if you need to change eating habits, change anything, green light, do it. Do it. Now's the perfect time to change. All right, guys, take care. Have a wonderful week and week ahead. Okay, guys? Bye.